show. Many thanks for staying with us. Former President John Dramani Mahama has dismissed the perception that social democracy and poverty move hand in hand. Speaking at the opening of the Ghana Institute of Social Democracy here in Accra, the former president noted that social democracy does not amount to equalizing poverty. The NDC, he says, is not against business and making wealth, and assured that in the coming months they will redefine the party's ideology. According to him, the school is not to brainwash people.
Into the property owning classes, and therefore identify themselves with a different ideology. And so that misconception must be erased. Of course, social democracy believes in the market and creating an environment for the private sector to be able to prosper. But at the same time, we believe that the markets cannot fairly distribute the fruits of economic growth. And so you need a certain state intervention to ensure that the poor and vulnerable are also not left out. And so social democracy is about social safety nets and making sure that everybody is able to live a decent and dignified life, while letting those who are business people who want to do business and make money, do it and make money, create employment. But when that cake has grown, how to distribute it, the market cannot distribute it fairly. And so the state must make sure that those social safety nets are put in place in order that the poor and vulnerable are not left to an undignified life. And so we must let people understand that our party is not against business. Indeed, it's in the time that our party has been in government that businesses have prospered the most. And so these redefinitions must be one of the outcomes that this institute is able to put out. Even so-called conservative and property-owning parties in Africa cannot afford to be the kind of conservative parties that we find elsewhere. Often if you go to the developed countries, when the conservatives come into power, they whittle away at social welfare and they give tax breaks to the rich and wealthy. But in Africa, you can't whittle away at social welfare. Indeed, some of those conservative parties that call themselves conservatives, have moved left of center. And today are involved in social safety nets like national health insurance, like free school, senior high school, and others. Those are all social democratic programs. And so we must be proud of our ideological orientation, and we must redefine it so that people clear the misconception they have about social democracy, and to understand that our party seeks to ensure prosperity for all, not just for a few.
Former President John Dramani Mahama there. Well, it's been a rumor so far whether or not he will contest for the 2020 election. He is still not sure if he will run for that for presidency in 2020. He did lose the 2016 elections to President Akufo-Addo last December, which ended the NDC's 8-year reign. Well, my colleague Nancy Emefa-Dradosi caught up with him today. Nancy is here with me to talk about the program. But before we continue with the program, you had a conversation with the president. Former president, what did he tell you?
Right, so I inquired whether or not he would be interested, in contesting for the 2020 elections, because it's been an issue that people have been talking about. Now, he tells me that he's thinking about it and that he hasn't made any plans to contest on whether or not to contest. But then when he's certain as to whether he'll contest or not, he'll come back and make his pronouncement.
That's what he told you?
Yes.
Did he say anything else apart from that? And would you be able to tell whether or not he meant what he was saying? I mean, did he say it with a smile, or did he say it with a frown, or like, He was
actually smiling and almost laughing. I asked him because, tomorrow he's actually leading some walk in Tamale. And he mentioned it at the podium, and as if he wanted people to be aware of it. Okay. And so I wanted to put that question to him, so he tells us whether or not
that has anything to do with his presidential ambitions going forward.
Yes. And he said he wasn't done thinking about it, and that when he's done, he will let us know.
Okay, when he's done thinking about it, we'll be here to let you know what he thinks. But so far, you do know that the rumor is out there. People are saying that he's going to contest But we'll see. We heard that before the 2016 elections. We heard that about the former the current president as well, whether or not he was going to contest. So we'll wait to see how it will go. Tell us a bit more about the program. Which other people spoke and what did they say?
So I spoke to the registrar for the school, the Ghana Institute of Social Democracy for the NDC.
Okay.
Now, Peter Otakuno, he tells me, Otakuno, beg your pardon, he was telling me that they were overwhelmed with the number of applications they had. Initially, they had budgeted for just 100 people. Okay. But it turned out they had about 700 applicants.
Wow.
Yes.
And these are all NDC members?
Yes, basically these are all NDC members, party faithfuls.
I see.
And so they were able to sieve them a little, and they got about some 400 members to be enrolled in the school. Okay. So before we left, they were actually at lectures.
I see.
So they were going to be there the whole day. So speaking to him, he says that he's actually overwhelmed, and then he sees to it that next time they will make sure they put up structures to employ or to enroll people, a lot of people to the school.
So they don't get too stressed up. Let's hear him now.
We're not even expecting anything close to the numbers that we have today. When we opened the admission for this course, our capacity was to take 100 students. But the number of people who took the forms went beyond our expectation. We had over 800 people picking up the forms, and most of them submitted. We did a review, and we were able to admit about 420 out of the 800 people who picked the forms. So currently, we are running the first cohort for the first 420. Today is the first batch of the first cohort. So after this, tomorrow we'll have the second batch. Then on the 15th of September, we are going to have the third batch. Then 16th of September, that is next week Saturday, we have the fourth batch. So we've divided the cohort into 4 sections. So the first, second, and third and fourth, so that we can be able to, handle all the students that were successful. We are very hopeful that when we reopen this particular program for the second cohort, a lot more people who were not able to make it this time can participate in the second cohort.
All right, so that's Otukuno there explaining that, but he told you, you did ask him questions about whether or not people who go into the school are going to emerge as party executives somehow. What answer did he give you? Well,
he told me that there was something that the National Executive Council of the NDC were trying to consider, and because they said they wanted people that were efficient to work, because they want to capture political power in 2020. It would just be good for them to have the manpower, in the party. And most of the people that were actually at the lectures today were people that hold political parties at the grassroots levels. Okay. And so they have that's why. So we can hear him now.
Okay.
I've not come up with any party policy on that, but we hope that if things goes very well, and we want to be efficient as a party and efficient in government, then you will need to have acquired that knowledge that we seek to impact into our members before you can hold some positions. Because as we have said, this is an institute of research and higher learning into politics, governance, and social democracy. So politics is there, governance is there, and social democracy is there. So we must prepare you even for governance, and we must also prepare you for political position. So we are hoping that if the National Executive Council of the NDC deems it fit, and they think that it should be a prerequisite to take any position, I think that it will not be a bad idea at all. But frankly, the truth of the matter is that we are seeking to win power, and second, to run an efficient government. Now, if we are seeking to win power and to run an efficient government, then you need an efficient human resource base. So if this institution is preparing a human resource base, then it wouldn't be out of place to make it compulsory to go to the party school before you take positions. Anybody who suggests that, I don't think it's bad. But as I said, it's up to the National Executive Committee to decide.
Interesting times ahead for the NDC. Finally, you did speak to some of the students. Yes. What did they also say?
They were so happy. They said that they are party faithfuls, and this is just a chance for them to know about the history of their party and the real ideologies of the NDC.
Real ideologies of the NDC, which the president, former president, by the way, say ought to be redefined to do away with all misconceptions. Let's hear the students now.
I'm very
happy to be here today because as a member of this party, a true comrade, I think this gives us an opportunity for us to come and learn. Because if you are a member of the party and you don't know anything about the party, why do you join? I will join because of personality. But today we have got opportunity to meet our former president, to meet the national executive of this party, and we are here to learn, for us to understand the reason why we are in this party. We are here to learn and for the lecturers to teach us about the social democracy, the ideology, the principles of this party. And so for me, I'm very, very happy to be honored to be one of the first members to attend this school.
Basically, you know, I'm an NDC youth activist, and there's a saying that if you want to succeed, you need to consult the past. So basically, looking at what we are coming to study today, we are going to draw down from the history of Ghana, how Ghana emerged, and also how the NDC also emerged. So I think having this historical background will provide us the limelight on how to succeed in the future. So as an NDC youth activist, I think when I get all these backgrounds and ideas and to understand more about the ideologies, is going to motivate me and also help me contribute my quota to the development of this political party, because this is a political party that, as an individual, I believe in. To determine the success or failure of a state, it takes leadership. So looking at today's course, for instance, about political leadership, we are going to learn how to become leaders, and also how to manage ourselves. So if this course will take me for 3 years and will equip me with the necessary skills, I think I'll be a better person in the near future.
Some of us were born into this political ideology, and we believe in it. So I don't think we can be swayed into other ideologies.
Obviously excited students there. We'll see what they come out with. MFA, you were excited to be there yourself. Were you brainwashed?
No, not at all.
Not at all. Okay, thank you very much, MFA, for that update. MFA, Nancy MFA Ndradosi has been at the NDC's inauguration? No, that will be some kind of a matriculation.
Opening ceremony.
Opening ceremony of the lectures. Okay, and as we speak, we're told that they're still at lectures and they're learning about their party's ideology. Away from politics, let's look at what concerns you and I. Now, staff of the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission have returned to work this morning with renewed calls for the removal of the Executive Secretary, Samuel Sapong. The workers yesterday stopped a board meeting after locking the main door to the office of the Commission. JoyNews' investigations earlier this year uncovered some questionable payments at the utilities regulator. Maxwell Agbagba was on the second floor of the Liberation Tower, where the head office of the PURC is located, and has come through with this report.
Today we are working, when you say a board meeting, we're able to prevent an illegality from taking place. And as the Constitution of Ghana enjoins every citizen to kind of stop any commissioner of an illegality. We've had patience with the illegal board, and they've been taking decisions to the detriment of staff. And that has continued for long. And yesterday's own, we thought that we have to put a stop to it because it undermines the respect and the due processes that are, governing the PURC. So that was what happened yesterday. And you were here the whole day. We must acknowledge that you did a great job by staying with us, because it's a civil right of every individual to at least try to insist that your rights are given to you. So as at now, we are working, and we are just using your medium to let the necessary authority know that we still need to have our board immediately. And you can see from the staff that they are ready to work. And as at yesterday, you could see that they were so charged because he has lost grace of the organization. He has lost the control over the staff.
Okay. So now you, what essentially you're calling for now is a new board?
A new board, and the executive secretary immediately leaving, because he has no moral right to still hold himself as the executive secretary of PURC.
For 6 years, I have 2 children. I quite remember, like some 3 years ago, there was promotion, and I was told in the face that That whole year, what did I do? I got pregnant for 9 months. I went on maternity leave for 3 to 4 months. So virtually, I didn't do anything, so I don't need to be promoted. And it has been happening. I came with 2 gentlemen. One has been promoted like 2 or 3 times, and I am still at the same place. You know, so if a whole chief executive is claiming that women can't be promoted or would have to be delayed in promoting, then what's the essence of us working here?
I was not told that I'm not being promoted because I'm getting pregnant, but I was told that because we are getting free medical care, that is why we are giving birth. I'm giving birth anyhow.
Well, we're taking you live to the Otunfo's Palace right now, but let me tell you a quick one on the PULC, because the Commission has condemned the action of the union. And here are excerpts of the press release that was just sent. It says, unruly and unlawful actions at the headquarters of the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission on Thursday, the 7th of September 2017. The members, that's the governing board of the PULC, deemed it very regrettable the unruly activities coupled with the unsubstantiated, unproven and potentially libelous pronouncements orchestrated by the Union of PULC led by its chairman Alhaji Abubakar Jabaru. The unruly activities by the union led by the same person culminated in locking up the head office and also the regional offices. Let's fast forward to the final paragraph. Well, it says that for purposes of background, it goes on and on, but then it says in July 2017, in anticipation of the impending departure of the DPREA, a new manager of public relations and external affairs was recruited. This gentleman assumed duty on the September the 4th, 2017. As part of the handing over processes, a meeting was called with the new NPREA and outgoing DPREA in attendance to discuss the administrative processes that will ensure a smooth handover of duties and responsibilities from the outgoing director to the incoming manager. A key concern of the Commission was the upcoming ECOWAS Regional Electricity Regulatory Conference, which Ghana will host in November and coordinated by PULC barely 2 months ago. And if you hear that, it's basically to explain what that meeting that was held at the PULC yesterday or 3 days ago was all about, because that has been the basis, one of the bases that the union has, for which the union has been agitated. They thought that the meeting involving the Naya Agentua, who was the former head of public affairs, had come in a bid for the board to reinstate her, which is why they give all of that explanation there on the PULC. By Monday, we'll know what the development has been up to. But right now, let's take you live to the Otunfo's Palace. Well, we lost the feed, but we understand the Operation Vanguard team were there visiting with the Otunfo Oseitu II. We're unable to bring you that right now, but we will definitely get it to you in our subsequent bulletins. You're still watching The Pulse with me, Gifty Andopia. Let me take a very quick break for sports on The Pulse.